Hello and welcome to Sobrix. I'm Adam and this is Sobrix. This is my channel for reviewing Lego sets and building them and other Lego related stuff. In this video I'm going to be taking a look at the Lego Technic John Deere 9700 or 9700 Forage Harvester set. This is set number 42168. It has 559 pieces, and I paid $32 for this set. This set retails for $40. I got it for 20% off, so $8 off, bringing it down to $32. It's one that I didn't see going on sale very often, and I kept looking for it, and I just was recently able to price match it and get this. And there's this one, and there's another $35 retail John Deere set that is like a farming machinery and a trailer sort of thing in the classic kind of John Deere green there. And I want that one as well. And they have good piece counts for the given prices, but I have not looked at anything in the Technic line quite like this before, so I was pretty interested in it. And as I understand, there's a pretty big community of people who really love to collect, I don't know if the right term would be die cast, but farming toys or farming models that there's whole conventions and whole things set up about them, and that's pretty interesting. And I kind of like if there's maybe die cast car collectors. There's kind of the Speed Champions and the Icons cars for them, and there's within Lego and Technic, and then maybe for people who farm equipment, collectibles or whatever, might also get something out of this. This just looked like a really interesting model, and I was really compelled to get it. It does look like there's a fair bit of system stuff in here, so not Technic system stuff, but the brick system, the Lego system. But we will see, and I'm looking forward to it. So in this video, I'm going to open this up, I'm going to put this together, and then I'm going to share my thoughts on it while I build. I will speed the video up, and then I'll slow it back down to review this set. So until then, enjoy. Okay, so while we look at the build for this Lego Technic John Deere 9700 Forage Harvester set, I just wanted to say thanks for watching, and then remind you, if you like this video, click the thumbs up. If you like my other videos, click the subscribe button. That helps me a lot. If you want to give money to the channel, you can do that here on YouTube with membership, supers, and thanks. There's a Patreon link in the description. There's a Buy Me a Coffee link as well. And then I wanted to talk about the build. So pretty early on, this build was a bit different from other Technic vehicles I had looked at. I did make some mistakes at various points, so it ended up taking a little bit longer, and that's because we already have the steering kind of mechanism in here, and it is offset, so the mechanism to actually activate the steering is not in line with or perpendicular to the axle in which the wheels actually turn or move on. So that was a little bit unique, and it just doesn't have the same kind of chassis core build that I'm used to for a lot of other Technic sets. So this is kind of its own little sub-assembly here that will eventually kind of connect to these side panels, and that gives us a ton of the shape of the rear of this. This actually gets so much done. It does a ton of the heavy lifting, so there's even little curved things there. I did make a mistake I fix in the full review, so those kind of panels that are sticking out with these stickers on them, those will be flush with the rest of it. There's a little bit of system stuff to get kind of that spout, and we have kind of the whole rear of this pretty much done, and then we start working on stuff for the front actually, and this is really interesting too. There's a lot of features, a lot of functionality and mechanisms that go into this. So we have the front axles on there, those are separate, but we have this whole other secondary contraption, which is almost like its own build, but then they integrate really nicely, which is for the kind of forage header kind of comb thing with all of these grills, or all of these gears rather. So this extends out really wide. All of these gears will be in line with each other. They'll rotate together, and there's some really cool functionality that allows that to happen. And I was pretty impressed with this because not only does this engage with some of the stuff that's like part of the main build, there are some like real key things here, and I think they do a really good job kind of hiding that, and I think I do a good job kind of going through that all in the full review. So I really liked putting together the front. Some of the stuff in kind of the cab area is somewhat straightforward. The front kind of fenders are pretty easy, but there was also some stuff in here that was not as straightforward, including another thing that I did make a mistake on. Thankfully, it wasn't like so bad that I had to go back super far, but I did make some errors at various points in this, so even a relatively experienced builder can still have some oversights. Did have some problems with some of the system stuff in here, and I was able to correct that there without having to backtrack super far, so that is very good. And then we basically put on the cab roof and a few extra details here with a lot of system stuff, frankly, as well as the couple last stickers for the mirrors. And this is a super engaging build, more challenging than I thought it would be. I think the end model looks really great, so I'm very pleased with this. And now on to my full review for this set. Okay, so that is this Lego Technic John Deere, the John Deere 9700 Forage Harvester. This is a really nice model, a fun set, and I enjoyed building this. It took a little bit longer than I thought it would to get this together, but this was really great. It had some things that were innovative, different, new to me, and overall I really enjoyed the experience, and I'm really impressed with how the final model looks and works here. So my overall impression is that this is pretty good, and we'll kind of dive into this. There are no minifigures in this set, although it is potentially maybe a little bit minifig compatible, which I'll talk about as we go. But we have this big sort of tractor forage harvester with the classic kind of John Deere colors, the green and the yellow there. And when you start building this, pretty early on, we are building kind of the structure down here. Now, this doesn't have a chassis that kind of builds together in a traditional way. I would say there's a lot of stuff that goes on in here that surprised me or was unique to me. So in terms of the overall frame of the wheelbase and everything, it didn't feel as common as a some of the other like vehicle builds, like bigger cars, where there is kind of like a grid essentially along the bottom. We can still see we use a lot of beams, pins, axles, stuff like that to get through here, but this is layered in a really specific way. So pretty early on we add like what amounts to the steering mechanism before we have the tires back here, and then because we have different size tires, that does mean that the axles need to be at different sides. Pretty early on, we kind of build up the bumper here. These nice little panel pieces here, this green and black one, were put in a nice way, and then later kind of folded in. And there's actually not a ton going on in here, except for the steering. So you can kind of see through this, and it does it actually works pretty well to me. You can see my hand through there, so there's gaps, but we do have some like big beams in here that essentially make up a good amount of the frame, that we put these half pin with the stud on there, and then we use Lego system stuff to kind of finish that off. And I think the finish for this looks really good. And I'm just now realizing that I may have a couple pieces on here incorrectly. I'm not sure how I missed those, but it's pretty obvious now that I'm looking at it like this. And let's see if I can get these in there right. There we go. And then once we kind of have the fenders for the rear and that system stuff, we kind of build up the rest of the back of this, which has a really nice look, super finished. Of course, we do have a little bit of a gap in here, but this kind of angled panel to these pieces, which are a kind of curved beam piece, similar to this piece down here. So there's like, you know, 2 pinholes, an axle hole, another pinhole, and then kind of a curve there. We use several of those up here, which connect in, you know, alternating which things are going to go in what order. We use these bigger kind of panels back here to round that out. The whole kind of like center piece up here was actually its own kind of sub-assembly, so you can see we can kind of open that up and then we put that on and this folds down, and I think that really kind of follows this angle really nicely. The back does have kind of like a rear sort of bumper area here as well that sticks out, but all the color blocking back here is really, really nice. It's pretty symmetrical, like left to right, so again, like the system stuff in here, this stuff is all the same. There are a couple stickers in this set. Sticker sheet actually not too bad compared to other Technic stuff. I think this is okay. And so we do have the pretty obvious ones, John Deere 9700 on those panels. On the rear, we have the John Deere logo back here. We have the little triangle there. These 2 kind of caution things are stickers as well. And then we have just a couple more. So like the mirrors on here and here, those are stickers. We have one sticker that's inside. It's a little difficult to see, but it's a control panel there. There's a really, really small sticker right here on this 1x1 tile. I do not like putting stickers on a 1x1 tile like that. I think that should have been printed. I don't know if it's a licensing thing or something with John Deere with some of their controls or whatever. I know John Deere is maybe infamous or notorious or famous for aggressively protecting their copyright and also being sort of anti-consumer in their, you know, allowing people to, you know, fix their own things and stuff like that. So some of their proprietary things are a little bit complicated. We do have the one up here, which is another John Deere logo, and I think that is all of them. So not a ton, 10 stickers here, a couple mirrors pretty much identical. These bigger ones are identical, just mirrored. These are the ones that are on the back bumper, the caution. These are the 2 logos on the back. This is the logo on the front, and this is the control panel. So that's all these stickers. So, you know, for the most part, there's not that many stickers here, especially compared to other sets. And the Technic set I recently looked at with like in the Space line, I think had more stickers. Obviously like Speed Champions, not in Technic stuff, but other Technic cars do have a lot of stickers as well. And this one gets away with, you know, not having a ton. I think that 1x1 sticker really should have been a print, but that's okay. We do kind of build up the rest of this, and then so much of this is focused on function. We start kind of bringing it forward, working on the cab area. There is a good amount of system stuff in here. So, for example, the kind of spout thing, I don't know what this is called, but I'm imagining, you know, it harvesting stuff and it getting, well, I don't know if it's kind of coming out of here into something, or if it's, yeah, I don't really know. I'm not a farmer, but I don't know what piece this, like what type of machinery or piece this is called, but you can move this. It attaches with a Technic pin, so we can like spin this around. There's another Technic pin, so it can move up and down, and then the rest of it is system stuff, tiles, plates, a big slope, inverted slope brick at the end. Got a little maybe exhaust here or something like that, so that's really good. These kind of slopes right here are system, same with the tile. This is tiled out with a plate. We got some plates and some slopes and some tiles, same up here, couple extra pieces up there. The whole kind of cab area has a pretty I mean, for a Technic thing, a sizable kind of sub-assembly that is all system stuff. So this is why I say it's maybe sort of minifigure compatible. It does have a minifigure steering wheel, minifigure seat here, and here we can get a better look at the other kind of controls here that were those internal stickers, so you can kind of see that. This one is the one that I'm most upset about, and that is all system stuff that attaches in here. And let's see if I can get this back in. I did have some trouble getting this studded down initially, and let me see if that's right. And that's partly because we're working with some odd numbers in here. You can see here, this is like 3 studs. No, that would be 8 studs, but there were some odd numbers in some of these things. At least it felt like it to me. And there's not like so much bulk here. It's pretty light, and that does mean there's a lot of gaps. Certainly the cab can have a gap, but even underneath there, there's the one kind of here, this one here, kind of under here, through the back there, through the middle there, and that's because like a lot of this has some functionality. So we do have steering. I've kind of already shown that. It's rear steering. We have that up here, so it's actually a little bit offset from the axle, which is kind of back here. Steering's a little bit forward, but it works really, really smooth. No problem there, and I kind of like where it's positioned. It allows for this to have like more range of motion here, and doesn't get in the way of anything else. So I kind of like that it's positioned up front, but you do make some accommodations to kind of have the steering here and move it there, and so a couple of gear like directional changes in order to accomplish that. There is like some core structure stuff that is used, like these beams, kind of these double beams here, or beams kind of on the side. We have some thicker kind of beams to create the front fenders up there, and then we can also like position the mirrors however we like. You can't super easily remove the canopy or the roof of this. It is not like crazily solidly attached. It's attached in a couple spots, but like up here, in order to get that angle of like the windscreen there, which I think is really, really appropriate and looks really, really nice, that would be like this angle here, that axle. That's, put in a piece that's angled down there, but then it's not like put in an axle hole up here. It's just put in a pinhole. So you can see we can kind of move this around a little bit, and that's okay. And then a bunch of the kind of work goes into the front, and this is where I thought things got like especially interesting, because there's some pretty cool functionality up here. First, we have the big kind of harvester, forage, loader kind of comb-like mechanism with all of these gears here up at the front, and this has a function where these will all spin in the same direction, and they're actually attached to the front wheels here. So if we go forward, these all start spinning one way, and they don't do it if we're going backwards. And we can kind of, that's like a really nice kind of touch there, that those all work. And in order to get that to work, it's pretty easy to connect gears like this. There's just these smaller ones behind. So, these bigger yellow gears are connected back here. We have the gear in the center, and then that attaches to a gear behind there, which has beneath it another gear kind of change here, as well as having some rubber wheels down at the bottom. So what is happening here is that when those forward wheels spin, this will go. If we were to really put a lot of pressure on what's holding the comb, when this moves backwards, we could get them to spin the opposite direction, so you can see that now, but like generally, like holding it from the top, you're probably not going to get that. And that's because this does have some nice play. It almost has like, you need to press it down a little bit for those rubber wheels to engage with the surface that allows for all these to spin, but then when you pull it back, you kind of release. And so that is really nice. There's a lot of gear work in there. I like how it comes together. This does have some play here, which is very cool. And then another thing that I was surprised about, one of the other functions, is that you can raise and lower this. So there's another gear on this side, and if I flip it like that, now this is raised off the ground, and so it's not spinning either way we're doing this, and it does have clearance, so it's kind of locked in place like that. Has a little bit of wiggle room there, but for the most part it's locked in place. And there's this whole kind of like counterbalance system in here that works to allow that. If I switch this back over, let me see here. So right now it is down. If I flip, I'm trying to get a good thing here, trying to get a good view of this. If you can see behind those wheels, the big wheels there, maybe if I pop one off, it'll be a bit easier to see. Get it something like that. The whole like comb harvester forage header thing kind of pivots on a one kind of axis here, and then it has movement at some other places, but a big part of that's like pivoting right there, and it is connected to kind of this element here, so that's where it's kind of turning on that. And then it just has some give up at the front in like these joints here, where some of these beams come together to allow for a little different kind of motion there. And so if we turn this, we can flip. We have it's kind of hard to see. There is an element in here. See if I can get this down, this piece that I am turning, which is how we engage that. So when it's like this, these can be down. When we turn that, it lowers this thing, and then like a lever, this other side kind of goes up. So right now it's because it's engaged, that little gear, that little knob we can turn, it is has the header raised up, and then if we let that go, gravity kind of takes care of the rest. So right now it's up, flip that, it's down, flip it, it's up. So it kind of just has an on and off. Super simple mechanism, but it was interesting to build because before it all came together, like I did have, there's stuff that was moving and stuff that had a lot of give and a lot of well, it just was more complex than I thought it would be. In just a cursory glance at some of the reviews of this on the Lego.com website, many people thought this was harder than a 9+ set, or many people expressed that it took them quite a long time to build this. I will say this did take me a good amount of time to build it. I did make a couple mistakes. Thankfully, they weren't so bad that I had to really work back and take a lot of it apart. There was some kind of major ones that I was thankfully able to fix kind of after the fact, which is very lucky, kind of uncommon with Technic sets. But it did take me a long time. It didn't take me 4 hours. It probably took me about an hour. So not a insane long time, but for a set of this size that is kind of long, there is some really nice detailing here. So more system stuff, kind of these combs, used there. I love the use of these pieces, which are almost like bigger, like claw pieces or a bionicle piece or something, kind of at the end there. I think is really nice. Color blocking here is really good. This is some system stuff. We do use these whips up here. This can technically like swivel a little bit, but those connect in there, which is good. There's not a ton of colors that you see that are out of place, like the white kind of axle pieces in there I think are nice. There's a little bit of red, tan, a lot of the like blue is really just kind of at the back here, so I wish those maybe would have been a different color. You can see a little bit underneath there, but not a ton. But these ones back here stick out. The rest of it, they do a pretty good job using better colors. The red doesn't stick out too much to me. The tan feels like it matches. The white feels really good. Gray, there is like a real gray part of this, so that's good. There's a couple yellow axles at various places, including, you know, up here at the center, as well as in the mechanism that turns the thing on and off. You can kind of see that little yellow axle in there, so that's really neat. One of the other things here is we have this, which just goes in the back. So it's just one of those Technic axles with the like stopper plus a like bushing piece that kind of goes right there. Now, I don't know specifically what that is for, but I think it's maybe for attaching something back here. So I don't know if there's a specific set that it could attach with. There is an opening in here that a beam could fit in. So if I had a Technic beam, let me just pull one off of this set, something could slide in here like that, and then this could be used to lock that in place. Has a little bit of give left to right depending on how much is going in or out. And I'm assuming this is supposed to be so we can attach a trailer or something to this. And in fact, I did mention at the beginning there's another Technic Lego set that is a John Deere set that is like $35 maybe, and it comes with a trailer. Where would that be? I'm still seeing it on the shelves. Yes, the John Deere 9620R four-wheel drive tractor, and I'll probably look at that one in the future, but that one does come with a like trailer behind it, and I'm thinking, I don't know for sure if that in that case it would be, but they might have some Technic trailers that could be attached to this, which is a really nice consideration. As is, this doesn't connect anything, and when I'm like kind of turning it all around and stuff, it will slide out, but that is a nice consideration there to be able to have that, especially people who are like really into these John Deere Technic models. I think that's nice to have, to be able to combine them. Overall, I found the build experience like challenging in a good way, challenging in a way that I like Technic stuff to be challenging. It wasn't, you know, crazy to me. I build a lot of Lego sets for people who are like not as often building Lego or building Technic. I could see some difficulties here, even with my experience. I did make some mistakes, and it did take a little bit longer, but I think it's really worth it. I think the model just frankly looks great. There are gaps, but there's also places where there are very minimal gaps that I think it really succeeds in. Same kind of down here. If a person kind of buys into the Technic of everything and the Technic design, I think this is actually a really nicely accomplished version of this done in Technic. And so yeah, we don't have a windscreen, we don't have windows or like doors or whatever, but we have a lot of the core shapes. And because Technic is so good about kind of mechanisms, we have a couple mechanisms. We have the steering here, which we can utilize super smooth. Had to make some, you know, specific not changes, but design choices to offset the steering there. We have these all spinning connected to each other, which are connected kind of to a set of hidden wheels underneath there, which is its own kind of mechanism for that. And then we have the ability to raise and lower the kind of header up there, which is really nice. And if you kind of look on this side, we can see more of what that mechanism is in there a little bit as I'm turning this. So that's like raising and lowering that. If it was just kind of down on the ground, it would like level but held up in air, this would droop a little bit, but there's no risk of that when it's like sits on the ground perfectly. Has the look that it's like hovering above because they hid those tiny wheels really nicely. And I think this is a great design. I liked putting it together a lot, more than I thought I would. It's a decently sized model. One of the reasons I would say it's probably not minifigure compatible is because this is what a minifigure looks like next to this. So a minifigure is like, not even as tall as the tire. I mean, some farm machinery is very big, so maybe this is in scale, but I guess maybe it's not for me to say. Certainly the cab of this and the operating room is minifigure sort of compatible in that it uses some pieces from the system, the Lego system that includes minifigures. So the seat and the steering wheel and the controls. If I get Spider-Man in there, it's a little bit difficult to get them in there just because I don't have like super easy access to this. You can't like remove the top super easily, but the minifigure that I did have close by, Spider-Man, honestly doesn't look too bad in there. Has some clearance above the head with a hair piece or with a like farmer hat or something. You might run into a little error there, but they don't look too bad in that, except for being an interesting just job for Spider-Man to be having to do and in their suit, but that's okay here. And I guess I'm reminded here that maybe this is similar to the Scarecrow Harvester of Fear. I think that had like things that went this way instead of things that went this way. So a little bit different, but had some similarities there in my mind. I was just thinking about superheroes and using big farm equipment and large machinery, and that led me to thinking about that. But overall, I think this is really good. I don't know if Lego and John Deere, I don't know what their license is like. I don't know how many of these there are throughout the years or how long they've been doing it. I don't know if it's something where they do like one John Deere set per year or not. As I said, there is a pretty sizable community and dedicated community to like model farm equipment or die-cast farm equipment and stuff. And if there's crossover between those people and Lego people, Technic people, whatever, I think this is a super solid entry. To my eye, to my untrained eye, I think this is just a really well done representation of what this kind of contraption, this kind of machinery is, with a lot of necessary inclusions to make it convincing. And so it has some play value for that because we can use all these different mechanisms in here and they all just work really well, which is great. And I think it has display value too, and it actually feels like scale wise somewhat similar to what I'm imagining when I'm talking about like metal farm toys that are kind of have it's their own subculture there. So this is pretty good, challenging in a good way. I don't know if 9+ is too low for this. There were some people who were saying that it was an 18+ set. I don't think that's how I felt about it. Technic does have just some specific odd things about it, but like comparing this to the Technic like Hurricane, the Lamborghini, or the Bolide, or the Mustang, or some of those bigger cars, the Koenigsegg, those I think all stick with like a 9 plus, 9 plus age kind of marking, and I think that works. The recent one I looked at, the space one, was A plus or 8 plus. Yeah, that's pretty close. And now I'm realizing that there is a John Deere 94 948 L2 skidder, which is a $200 set that'll be retiring soon, and that one has some massive tires, 1,500 pieces almost. Looks like it's got some pneumatic stuff in there. That looks very cool. I don't know if I'll ever be picking that one up. Maybe if I could find it, I would. But that's just relevant only as like the John Deere kind of licensing stuff works. I'm not really in the know. I don't know how well they sell, but I'll show the extra pieces here, and then I'll kind of talk about the value. So all your 1x1s, your studs, your tiles, your pins, your kind of bushings, different things. These are the little tires that are used on the bottom. They just use one of these like axle bushing type pieces in for the rim. A couple, system things, different tiles in here. That's all well and good. And then just your basic pins, half pins, different stuff like that. So those are the extra pieces, and this set is 559 pieces, and I paid $32 for this set. It's $40. 20% would be $8 off, so I got it for 20% off, bringing it down to $32. I mean, $32 for 559 pieces feels pretty good. This one, does have some sizable tires and some good stuff in here because it's Technic. A lot of it is little pins, as well as little 1x1 tiles and stuff like that, that don't cost a ton. But I actually don't know if this is that bad for $40 either, considering the amount of time and stuff that went into this and what the play value is and the potential for this is, beyond a supercar or something like that, or a race car that is usually a slightly higher price point, but then can be found on sale for about what this retails at. Those will be bigger, certainly longer, wider in some respects, but they might only have just steering, but they look like cars. But for people who want to engage with farm toys like this, I think there is a market, and I think the price is actually okay. I'm glad it's not more. The other one I'm thinking about, the one that is kind of has a tractor trailer type thing, the 9620R 4-wheel drive, that one is $35 for 390 pieces. Does have some bigger wheels than this one even, and I don't know if that's a bad price either. If that one can be found on sale, $7 off, we are looking at $28 for 390 pieces feels pretty good. And so $32 for this, I feel is really nice. I think that's good. Would I have liked it if it retailed for $35? Yeah, I think that would have been better instead of $40, but they probably could have priced this at $40, $45, $50 and gotten away with it. I don't know what the sales records are for these. I don't know what the aftermarket post-retirement situation looks like for John Deere licensed sets. I'd be interested in figuring that out. All that is to say that I think I got a fine deal on this. I don't feel too bad about the retail price either. I do pay for all these things with my own money. For the most part, occasionally I'll get a gift, or sometimes some very kind viewers have sent stuff to me, but the rest of this I pay for with my own money, and I don't make money from YouTube in that way, such that it would allow me to just buy these. Like, there's no way the revenue from this video would buy this set. It just doesn't work that way for me. So I do take price into consideration, and I am very conscious. I do want Lego to be cheaper, but like, given what I have here compared to other Lego sets and Technic sets from all different themes from all across the board, you know, for $40 you could do worse than this, and you could certainly do better. $32, I think this is looking really good if it piques your interest, and it piqued mine, especially because like getting into a type of Technic that I hadn't really done yet, which was the farm equipment. So I'm grateful to have built this. I enjoyed it a lot. I think it's a really good model, and think I got a good value. So great. If you like this video, please click the thumbs up and give it a like. If you like my other videos, click the subscribe button so you can stay up to date on all the Lego videos I'll be doing here in the future, including maybe more John Deere Technic stuff, and then tons of other Lego sets from all different themes, all different shape, size, price point, piece count. So subscribe so you don't miss any of my upcoming Lego videos. If you want to support the channel and give money to the channel, like I said, I do pay for all of these with my own money, and I don't make money from, you know, YouTube or anything even close to like being able to pay for sets. But if you wanted to help out, it is greatly appreciated. You can do that here on YouTube with membership supers and thanks. There's also a Patreon. There's a link in the description. There's a buy me a coffee link. There'll be a link, an affiliate link to purchase this set, as well as some other gear that I use for recording and for my PC and stuff like that. So if you're interested in those, you know, those options are there, and it is a great help. It's not needed, it's not necessary, but it is greatly appreciated. So thank you very much. And with all that said, until next time, thanks. Bye.